Hello, this is Bonsai Anonymous. It's afternoon now, so instead of coffee, I have iced tea. Peach iced tea. Okay, so today I thought I would show you a couple of plants that I like and do a little work on one. Okay, this is a Simpsons stopper, at least that's what my phone says it is. And I don't know if I can move it up so you can see the top. And you see the top. Someday I will do this properly with a white background so you can really see. But at the moment, my work is not really that interesting. So seeing it is not that great. Okay, so this is one of the two trees that I like, and just like all the others, I have no idea where it came from. We have lots of Simpsons stopper in our yard, big trees, but I probably also picked some up at the native plant nursery. So this could be one of those. So gotta start, continue keeping better records because my memory will not be getting any better. Okay, enough of that. So this tree was wired to produce this shape, okay? And I don't know, the wire that did that isn't here anymore, and I really don't see too many scars from it, which is a good thing. At least most people say so. I don't mind trees that have had a little bit of a rough time of it because, not that I want to produce that, but ones that are kind of raggedy, as my friend would say. But and then see if I can make something out of it. Okay, so I don't know this. I'm sure this wasn't curved this way when I got it. So let me talk about this, what I'm doing here a little bit, and then I'll continue doing a little more. Down here, we have a branch very close to the bottom of the tree, a little more than an inch above. And it's growing this way, it's going up, going that way. So I'm leaving it, and I may actually end up leaving it permanently because I like it. I like the way it looks. I think it balances the rest of the tree a little bit. This may have to be bent some. Okay, let me talk about one other thing. It's important, I think, for me to know which side of the tree is the front. I see that all the time, and how to decide where the front is, and what to do about it if you don't like it. And I'm sure all those things will happen here sooner or later. But right now, I can look at this tree, and this side looks good. Let's take a look back here. Well, that's not too good, the side view. How about this? Okay, now, they're very similar, but why would I pick one over the other? Well, it's very obvious. If I want to keep this branch, I can't have it coming off from the back. It's got to be coming off from the front. Now, why is that true? I don't know. It just seems to look better if it's clearly part of the same tree. So I'm making this the front, and since my memory is so bad, what I decided to do is make a little F on the front. And this one isn't really in doubt, so it's a good one to practice on. The other reason I might keep this branch, besides losing my train of thought, I didn't even get on the train. Okay, so another reason to have a branch like this is that I think that I've heard that it makes the trunk a little more robust if it has to support something like this. So they call it a sacrificial branch because at some point it may be removed. Right now I like it, and it's not really competing with the ground and there's a big blank area here that might not mind having something here from this branch. Okay? Now, that's the bottom of the tree. And the bottom of the tree, I like. Is there anything I would change? Well, there's a few of these branches like this one, coming from the bottom. Some people say no good. And I have to admit that it does clear the tree up. I'm banging my head against the camera. That's better than doing it against the wall, I guess. So I'm getting out one of my tools here, and it's well used. Looking at it, I know it looks neat. Looks like it needs to be cared for. And this is it. It's a pair of bonsai shears. They're rusty, but works somewhat. And I'm going to be using that on this tree. Okay, so this is going to be down ultimately like this and back up. Okay, so we don't really want too many things hanging off the bottom of the tree, going down. Okay? So what we usually do is we usually go in and take the ones that either are going down or appear like they might. And no reason why we can't use our turntable to get around here a little. Now it's going backwards, so we're getting rid of it. Okay, now, as you do this, there's another one that's going directly for us. Okay? Now, do we ever want, my mind is it hits on something and then it goes a different direction. So that's just me, and that's the way it is. Okay, so do we want any branches to come toward us? For me, that depends. And I'm the farthest thing from an authority on this. All I know about this, I know from YouTube and my lessons with Paul, which have been very helpful, and reading books. So what does that make me? It makes me an enthusiast, I guess. I'm enthusiastic about doing this. And it's very relaxing. Okay, now if we look there, still at the few, some of these branches can just pitch. Okay. I'm getting to the main act here in a minute, why I really wanted to bring this tree over here. Get rid of that. I think that helps. We really don't need two here. I'm gonna leave them just in case I want to make sort of can't think of the word. That's another thing. I lose words. Pad. I'm going to make a pad. Not want to make a pad like that and have it go up, and I haven't decided. This is going toward us. It's leaving. Now, at a certain point, I look and I say, "My goodness, I've gone too far." I might have. I'm not worrying about it because, for one thing, it's like getting a haircut in a couple ways. For one, it'll come back. Okay, maybe not better, but it'll come back, and you'll have another chance. There's another one I want off. It's going to be going down here in a second. All right, now stop here for a second and pick these up. Why do you need to pick the leaves up? Well, and I understand everything I know about this. I know from talking to Paul and other videos. You don't necessarily want leaves on the ground because, for a few reasons. I think they can attract bugs, but for me, the biggest problem is that they shield the ground from water. So if I have a big leaf like this, and I put it right here, and I try to water, chances are there somewhere down there there's not going to be getting enough water. So that's that. These are artillery ferns. I love them. They have the tiniest leaves and flowers, really. And some people don't like them because they go, let's see, I want that one off. Some people don't like them because, that wasn't a great choice. Anyway, some people don't like them because they say they take the nutrients from the soil that the trees need. I don't know. I haven't done any double-blind studies. Actually, I haven't done one in my whole life about anything, but I haven't done any double-blind studies about this. So who knows? I have a nice little pair of bonsai tweezers down there, but here I am taking it up with my finger. Happens to me all the time. So anyway, the main act of this is that I want, let's see here, I want this to be the new leader. And so it has to go up. This has to go down. And how it's going to go down is one of the orders of the day. Okay, so I think it's got to go to. There's a kind of a maxim about cutting. The chances of you killing a tree or hurting a tree by doing what I'm doing right now are very small in my experience. If the tree is healthy, and this one I think is probably one of my healthiest ones. It's done well in spite of my ministrations. Time for tea. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want this. First of all, let me talk about it. It is suggested, or suggested, yeah, that you have branches on the outer side of loops or bends, like that. This is a bend. There's a branch. I don't know about that one, but this is a bend, and there are two branches. Okay? We don't want two branches at the same place unless, and this is stretching it, unless it can contribute to the design. So what I'm going to do is I want to go down with it like that and then back up. Okay, so that's the plan, and I'm going to do it right now so you can see how I would do it. Now, there's a good chance, I'd say so, there's a fairly good chance that I'm going to break this stem off, and I don't feel bad about that particularly because I think many bonsai enthusiasts, maybe most, would just chop that off, and if it comes off, okay. Now, but I'm doing this because I want to show you a little bit about wiring, okay, and I want to say, I want to say everything I learned about wiring, I learned by watching Peter Chen. That's pretty much true, but my teacher is excellent at this, and I learned things from both. And here's what Peter Chen says. You need to wire two branches together in order to get the leverage you need. Now, I am committing a huge sin right here. And I think maybe I'll go back and repent before I do this, okay? So I promise I won't, well, for the most part, I'm not going to bury my mistakes so you can't see them, okay? Now this one, I'm not done with. It's gotta go down, and then it's just gonna have to go back up, but it's not gonna be able to do that with that wire only going that far, okay? So, here's the other thing. My memory is so bad that often I don't remember what I was going for. I don't remember. And so it's a whole new game at that point. What am I going to do? In some cases, I've been lucky, like this one, in that the shape was kind of there already. I wish I had a picture of this before it was bent and so forth, but that was long before I decided to do this. Okay, so now we're going to get rid of this one. Now, when you get, first of all, let me go back for a second. If you leave the wire on too long, you have these grooves in the tree, in the branch. Can you see them? They're all along there. And what to do about those? Well, probably the best thing is to take the wire off sooner. That's the best thing. But, well, I'll speak for myself. I'm a little lazy, and I don't get to every single thing I need to every day, or every week, or every month, and it turns out every year. So anyway, I'm removing this, and what I hope is that it's been on long enough for the branches to stay where they were wired. Now, how long does that take? Well, I don't know. And I know that sometimes I thought it was long enough, and it didn't end up being long enough. Now, I see something I really like here that I didn't see before, that I could do with this, and that is just bend it over, like that. And so, it could, and that's easy to do, very easy to do. All right, so I think I have almost all the wire off. Let's just take it all off. While I'm doing that, let me tell you about wire. And this is just stream of consciousness, I'm so sorry. This is aluminum wire. I don't know, you can't see, but it's aluminum. All the wire I have is aluminum, except for a little bit of this this garden wire, which I use not really for bonsai. All aluminum, all of it. And I've got rolls and rolls and rolls and all sorts of these little pieces. I think I showed you the other day that a little piece works great to hold these little drainage things in. A little piece of that just push through and bent over the side, and you've got, this one isn't so great. I mean, I might replace that one, but the wire keeps these in place until the dirt's there, and that's just the way it is. Now, you can find online ways to tie this wire that are very artistic and cool. I don't feel a need for it. Number one, it's complicated and my hands aren't good. Number two, it's going to be under the pot, so who cares? I think they say that it might keep the this in a little better. Well, I've done it without the wire, and it's not bad. I mean, if I put a whole thing of this stuff, I'm sorry, I keep getting off the camera here, but I put a whole big size piece of this in the bottom, I wouldn't have to hook it down. Okay, I wouldn't have to hook it down. But that's what I use, the little pieces of wire, and I have probably hundreds of them. Not only do I reuse the little ones, but one like this. Okay, what I do with this, and this is, I think, Paul and Peter Chen. So I keep falling back on my experts, and they both say they both reuse wire. Now, here's the problem with it. Theoretically, it gets a little harder to bend. I haven't observed that. That's one. And number two, it really doesn't look very good. There's no way I'm going to be able to make that nice and straight. And so, it's not, I don't think any of us intended on, use it on a display plant. Now, I don't have any display plants, but if there's wire on a plant that's really on display, it's always done with new wire. At least that's what I've seen. Peter Chen talks about using steel cable, taking steel cable apart in World War II to get the wire. That's really something. So anyway, I save this wire and I reuse it. The one thing that Paul does that I don't, and I'm sure many of you don't, that that you do is not reuse dirt. And I'm afraid that I do reuse dirt. I'm sure there'll be a time when I clean that up too and get it together, but right now that's not happening. So there's a nice little piece right there that will work great to hold one of those screens in. Very nice, perfect size. Okay, and I wanted to take this one off too, and then we're going to look at this and see. This is a serious piece of wire. I'm surprised I used it for this. It's really not that big of a branch. Okay, so I'm going to explain about wire strength and so forth. How thick of a wire do you use? Well, I have two things that I've learned and about that. One is from Peter Chen, and he said in a video, it's much better to use too thick of wire than too thin. Now, that means that whatever wire you pick better be able to do the job. And if it's too thin, it won't do it. Okay, now how do you tell if it's too thin? Well, there's all sorts of tests you can use. This is the test I use. I'm going to use a piece of wire. If I'm going to wire this branch, it better be stronger than the branch. So when I push the branch down, can you see that the branch isn't bending, but the wire is? This is not thick enough. It won't work. Possibly I could put two on it, and that might work, but that's so clumsy. It's already been bent. See all the scars there? Already been bent. And but that's how I do it. If I'm going to bend it, I pick the one that maybe is one higher than I think it should be. I mean, there are branches on here that you could do this with. See? It's not bending there. Not bending. So now I gotta think back to what I'm actually doing here. Okay. I have a change I want to make in this branch. Okay, first, this is going to go here. I like this design, an X. Can you see it? If I put it like that, it's still an X, but it looks kind of like a man walking, but this one is more convincing to me. So I'm going to wire that to do that. The other thing is that this branch, wow, would you look at that, those little leaves there? Those are just beautiful little leaves in the center. I can't do anything with the camera right now. I don't have any kind of control of it. So there's a chance that this may get a little more watchable as the weeks go on. Anyway, so this one I want to make a little circle. That shouldn't be too hard. This one just needs to be brought back, and this needs to be brought down. Okay, so what I'm seeing is, if I back up, I'm seeing that this wire job didn't take. The branch is still pretty much straight out from the tree. This one took, but it's got to be straightened. I don't really like the idea of how, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it. This one goes out towards the front too. So I read these discussions about whether a tree needs to look good from all sides. And I doubt that mine will. They're going to be doing all they can to look acceptable from one side. So that's where I am on that. But this, oh, that's going to take a serious wire to do that. And is this it? Nope. Can you see? I ain't gonna do it. So we got to go. Let's try this. This is a little bigger. Can you see that it's doing it? Now, the farther out I get, of course, it's not. Well, no, it's still doing it. So this appears to be what I need to do that. Now, when you wire branches, Peter Chen says wire two at the same time. And for anchoring. In other words, when I do these two, except I'm not going to, but you'll see what I mean when I get here. I'm actually going to put wire on both of them. This one's just going to be an anchor, and this one is going to be the one that makes it do that. Same wire, but you'll see, I'm not making it clear. But when you just have one branch, it's a different thing. And I'm trying to remember how to do this, and we're going to give it a try. See if I can get that branch to go back down. Now, there's a few things I could do. One would be to just go like that with some sort of weight. But I don't know that I want the whole tree going that way. What they say is, what I read is, that the apex of the tree probably is going to be above there. So my apex is going to be that branch right there, this one. Okay? I actually consider making this the apex at one point, but I just like all the fooling around that's going on up here. We'll get to that. But right now, how can I bring that down? Well, there's two ways. The way I'm going to use is practical here because this branch isn't that far above the ground. So I don't know if this one's going to do it. Extend it a little straighter. So what the deal is here, that we push this all the way down, right, and then we bend it around here. It's a solid piece of wire, let me tell you. And then we're going to go around there. Now, this is one I definitely do not want to break. It is very important to the tree. And this is going down here. I get to go over so that when I do this, it goes down. Now, already, I don't know that I'm gaining anything here. So let's take a look. Well, this is a case where I'm just going to let it sit and think about it. Right? But the principle here is that you can bend a trunk or a branch by putting the anchor end down in here. And it doesn't work very well if there's not much of a root ball or it's very shallow. So that's not practical here. This is almost too shallow. So what do I do with these pieces after I straighten them? I bend them like this, and I hang them on a hook down here below the... Someday I'll show you that. It's really exciting. Anyway. Okay. I'm going to do this one, and then we'll talk about that. Okay, this one doesn't need a thick wire. Probably one of the wires that I rejected a few minutes ago would work. So let me find one of them here. Okay, so what we need to find out is which is stronger, the wire or the branch. Looks like the wire, but it's close. Okay, so this piece, what I'm going to do, before I do it, let me tell you, I'm going to wire this one and this one. Now, that one I might even be able to get some motion in by doing this. So how I do it is, it's going to have to be that long. Okay, so, but I'll fumble here, I'm sure, because I just can't remember everything all the time. And let me say it, because everybody says it, if you like what you see, or have pity on what you see, like and subscribe, and help this young miscreant get back to a good life. Only a quarter a day will do it. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, now one thing about doing what I'm doing right now that they say is to not trap any leaves. And that's hard to do, but I try. Okay. It's interesting to me that one of the times that my trimmer is the least is when I'm doing this exact thing. And it could be awful. Could be awful. Okay, now. I don't know if that's enough yet, but we'll try. So I'm going to put you, okay, so let's, before we do that, let's continue over here. So I'm halfway through, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Not that hard to do, actually, but I do this around here. No, that's not what I want. I want, see, I already lost it here. This is going down here. And we're going to hold that where it is. Okay? Now, it goes like that. And then we're going to put it around here. One of the difficulties I have with wiring is that I can't seem to remember which direction to do the wire if you want to accomplish certain things. And so mine sometimes don't really work. That's why I'm anonymous, you know. If I ever got famous, I might change that, but if I get famous, it won't be bonsai. I don't think. It will maybe be something else. Okay, so that's a kind of a lame job of wiring. I wish the camera was closer, but maybe you can do that little thing. So what do we want to accomplish here? First of all, this is going to go up and then around. Up and then around and down. We're going to turn it as we do it. Okay, so I want that to be back up. So that means I have to keep going with the wire. And the closer you get to the end, the more you wish you had used a different gauge wire. So I do that. Now this one I am going to bring back. I'm going to bring down and up. Do I have enough wire to do that? Well, that depends. If I actually use it. You follow that. Trying once again not to trap any leaves. Have I ever trapped a leaf? Yeah, I have. There's one right there that I'm probably going to have to trap. Okay, now you go back, and then we go up, back, back. There we go, down and up. Okay, so you think that's an improvement? I think it is, but this is not what I want. I want like that. That's better. Let's turn this way a little more. Now, one of the things that scares me, and I was going to say scared me, but of course it still scares me, is that I'm afraid I'm going to break it. I'm afraid I'm going to break when I do all this. And it's like playing baseball. Your kid's afraid of getting hit by the ball. You say to him, you are going to get hit by the ball. Just accept it, move on. If you want to play, you just have to accept it. So you're going to break things. I watched one of Tony's videos, which was just so entertaining, where he tried to bend something and he broke it twice. And how funny, how funny. Now, I mean, he and his father had a good laugh. His dad said something like, "That's spot on, it's spot on, Tony," after he cracked it. Anyway, if you haven't checked out Tony's Bonsai, it's a tribute site now because he passed away recently, but it's fantastic. What a great person and a great bonsaiist, really. I mean, how wonderful. And he would let the mistakes go by. And now that, I don't know that every single mistake made it up to his site, but a lot of them did. And I think he judged which one to put up by if it gave a lesson to people who are watching. Okay? Now this, I really wish was like this. Okay? I don't know if I can do that. This one might work. Yeah, that's going to work. So what we're going to do is going to do a double here. And some of the least attractive bonsai trees I've seen have been the ones where the person was a very clumsy wirer, and that includes my trees. It does. They're clumsily done. I'm going to say one more thing that Tony said, which is so true, even more true for me than it obviously was for him. But he said, when people ask me if my trees are bonsai or in development, I tell them they're all in development. And that's the way I feel about it. I don't have a single tree that I had anything really to do with. Now, okay, so let's see what happens. Now, do we want it to go farther? I'm going to leave it like that for right now. Okay, so I lost my train of thought. It doesn't matter. They always come back to the station sooner or later. Okay, so we talked about this being a possible sacrificial branch. In other words, that means, that means that we leave it on because it pulls nutrients up to itself through the trunk, that's as I understand it, and the trunk gets bigger. Okay, now whether or not you take that off at some point, that's another matter. If you want to see the whole bottom of the trunk, yeah, maybe. This is going to end up going like this, I'm pretty sure. It's unfortunately, it's right in front of the trunk, so it may have to go, but we'll see. All right. Now we're up here. And what we want is this to be the leader and this to bend over. If that makes sense. Yeah, I think it does. Okay, so I have another drink here. If I could pause my video, I would. I just still don't have a program that does that in any sort of fashion that I can understand. I don't know how you feel about peach iced tea, but it is so good. All right. So I know what I want to have happen. And I don't know if I said this, but this has to be bent like that. Like that. And then after that's done, this is going to be the new top. So, where does the bending have to happen? There or down lower? I think here. Okay, now why did I ask myself that question? Because I only want to move the things I want to move. And what I want to move is this right here. Okay? Can you see that if I hold it here and I move it, everything moves? All that? If I hold it here and I move it, pretty much things over here stay where they are. Okay. Another thing I need to tell you is that with my memory loss, if a thought comes to my head that I think could be helpful, I need to say it right then, because if I don't, I'll forget. I'm almost already forgetting the one I had. But as I get to these spots where I see something that's interesting, I like to make a comment. And there is a comment I can make about this little area here. Okay? I'm not going to do anything about it, but there's a groove here that was caused by a wire at one point. And what that did was make this little bit of trunk bigger than this little bit of trunk. Certainly bigger than that bit of trunk. Okay? This is the biggest branch between this, this, and this. And it is higher than that. That is called reverse taper. Now this is a very minor case of it. I mean, I'm back here in a yard away, and I can see it. But I don't know if it's enough to distract me. Now, if it was, probably what I would do is chop that, somehow bring this back up and make it the top. But I really like this here, going the way it is. In fact, it's probably going to have to go down a little more. But this has to go like how? Like that. And then that has to go up. Okay, so I would think we're going to need a serious piece of wire here to do this. So, looking through my wire collection down here, and I always start with the used wire. I'll show you what the new wire looks like in case you don't know. This is a roll of new wire, and I don't know if this came from Japan. Probably not. Probably just eBay. I buy the very cheapest wire I can, and so far I have no reason to not do that. Okay, they come in assortments. In other words, there's part of one assortment. You can see huge wire, and in the middle some tiny wire, different sizes, because you do different things. Okay, I'm really getting off the track here today. I'm really sorry. And if I ever say anything you don't quite understand, ask me a question, and then I'll say what they always say is subscribe please, and hit the bell so that you get my notifications, and then give me a like. Now, this is, at this point, I realize it's a pity like, because this is as I say, pitiful so far. But at some point, it might not be, and then those early likes that were given are going to really be valuable. Does that make any sense? Okay. So, got my wire. I've BS'd my way around getting it out. I got to find, will this bend this? Boy, it's close. It's close. But, let's see here, where we want it bent. So, I don't like it this long, and I don't really have any shorter pieces over here to pile. Let's see about this. This piece. I don't think it's thick enough. Let's see if it is. Okay, so this wire is not quite thick enough, okay? And yet I would really like to use it. Why? I don't know. Economy, probably. But I've never been accused of being economical in my life yet. So it's probably not that. It's that I want to show you how to do this. And incidentally, learn more how to do it myself by showing you. I pretend like I'm teaching. I was a teacher. And that way, I can be semi-clear at least. So what we want to do is we're going to wire around here like this. Oh, it's going to run that long. So how do we make it shorter? Well, officially it would be great to use the bonsai wire clippers, but I think this will do. Okay, kitchen scissors, $2, and they will cut bonsai wire up to a certain point. Now this is the little piece left. I bend it and hang it on a hook so I can use it later for one of those filter meals. All right, this is what I'm using. And I'm going to, let's see. Okay, so we're going to bend this way. So that means we want to go this way with this, bend this, okay? We want to go that way. And this, and put it around. You don't put it around at least a little I don't think it will help you very much. Because what this is anchoring so that we can put some pressure on one of the wires. Now, it's going to be tough to avoid getting any of these leaves in here, but I'm committed to doing that. Okay, so that's all right there. Now this is where the action is. And I'm trying not to be too tight with this. And they say is to be able to see light between there. You can almost see it. Like that. Okay. Now it's somewhat wired to do what I wanted to do. And one of the things I wanted to do is move back. Okay? This is going to have to be down. But I don't want to really do it that way. I want to do it this way. Okay. Now stop and think for a second. This has to go down like this. We're going to keep going with that just in case. Why do we do more? Well, it just protects it a little more if it's inside of one of these. Okay. Okay, now that isn't too bad. And then this can go back over here as the leader. Right? So it wasn't the leader before. Everyone understand that? It was not the leader before. This was the leader. And by leader, another word they use, apex, the apex. It was the apex of the tree. It isn't now because we bent this over. Right? I just want to make that clear. I've seen these guys take an apex way down here someplace and just cut the rest of it off, and they know what they're doing. I'm a little more, well, I hate to say the word, I'm a little more conservative with this as opposed to everything else in my whole life, in which I'm not conservative. Okay, so this would have been great if it could have gone down and up. Okay? I think I'm going to have to do a little work here. I can't have these as high as they are. So how do we do it? Just cut them off. And try to find a spot that looks kind of healthy, and it's going to come back. I mean, I think I could say, trust me, it'll come back. All right, so what are we doing here? The last thing I'm going to do on this tree, and then I'll do another video on another tree that needs something. The last thing I'm going to do is wire this so that it can be here. It's going to curve over like that and go up. Okay? Now, here's the problem. This branch, where does it come off? I was going to say it comes off the bottom, but it doesn't. I didn't trap it down, did I? Did I trap it down? No, I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. Okay, so we can, what we want to do, as Peter Chen says, is wire two branches together. And that way one of them anchors for the other. Because if the wire isn't anchored, it just spins and has no ability to bend anything. So we're going to do a wire in between these two. Now there's already a wire here. Can't use it. This wire is going to be in addition to that. And it doesn't have to be as thick as this, because what we're doing with it is we're bending this, not this, and certainly not this. Okay? So a smaller one. And I probably have something here that will work. Will that work? Not quite. It's a little too thick. The wire's a little too thick too, I think. Let's try this. It might be a little thinner. Okay, this is the wire I'm using. And I'm going to straighten it a little bit. It's kind of, what's the word, anal, because it's just going to get bent again. It just seems to me that bending something like this is easier than when it's all crinkled. Okay, so we're going to wire these two together. Now, I'm going to say something else about wiring here. And that is that I don't cut off the extra. I don't cut off the extra wire at the end. Oh, why? Well, that's making a mess, isn't it? So, all right. Talking and not concentrating. Peter can just wire this, can just move this around like, he makes it look easy, and then it turns out it's not quite as easy as that. Okay, so that'll be fine for that probably, and then we're going to do this. Now you got to hold it right at the point where you twist, or you're going to have a problem. Okay, so this goes here. Can you see how it's still bending that down? You really don't want that. So now let's see here. We're going to take this up. This is going down. This is going over here. It's going down. All right, so that's not wired enough. Just put a few more here. Now, there are techniques that you can use that I haven't mastered to make sure the wire is not too tight. And they all result in light being able to be seen between the wire and the trunk. And I can see light, some of them. Yeah, I can. Okay, and then I already lost my train of thought about putting this up straight. And I've still lost. Okay, now I know what it is. That's going to go down like that. Down, and then back up. Out, and then back up. Okay, we'll take that. And then this has to come up here. And I have a feeling I'm going to have to redo that one. It's okay. Now, kind of what's happening here is something that I hate, and that is that I've wired it in such a way that it's almost impossible to make it do what I want it to do. Okay? So I'm not really angry about it. I just have to figure it out. I have to put this wire in a kind of an odd way. Okay, so that goes there. Still want this to go over here like that. Then we're going to take this, put it around so we can get it back up over here. Just bending it down is not what I want. I want it to go back up. Okay, so up it goes and forward like that. And then this goes back like that and gets twisted like this. A little more. All right, back. Over. Up. All right, now. This still isn't where it needs to be. It needs to be up like that, and then over like that. Huh? That's pretty good. Now this is going to go back. That and this whole thing is coming forward. You're going back. All right, now. Man, that's tough. Forward and up. I'm feeling some looseness in the wires. Okay, so anyway, back to what I was saying a second ago. I don't trim the wires off the end. And there aren't too many long pieces here, but sometimes they're longer. A lot of people trim them. And as far as I can determine, they trim them because they like the way they look when they're trimmed. That's what I am seeing. And It's getting there. Down, out, now back. All right, so this is competing, and this is secondary branch, so we're taking it out. That probably will be as well. And we'll probably have to do something with this. Okay, so basically what I've done, now you see that I trapped a few there? And I don't think I'll kill them, but now it still has to go down some and up, like that. Okay, so it's kind of going forward in some cases, backwards in one. But I like it better. And just to review, what we did is we took the wire off, put some other wire on. There's some. All the wire that's here is stuff we put on today. And they're all been put on for a reason. This is here because I wanted that bent that way. This is here because I wanted this bend to be down. Same thing here. This is here because I wanted this shape, okay? And I wanted certain things here. I want this to be at the top. And I still think it can be closer to the top than it is. But that's all right. That's okay, I'm leaving it. Leaving the extra wire, and as I say, there's a good example, means that if you need to wire something farther along the branch as it grows, or because you just need to, there's a little extra wire there to fool with. This is a real long one, and the reason is I have a feeling this is going to be a long branch, so I got to think of what to do with it. But leaving the wire like this, for me, since I don't think of wire as part of an appearance improver, that's why my wiring always, well, of course I'm a beginner, but that's why it always looks so clumsy. And but I don't care. It does the job mostly. And if you know you're going to take it off fairly soon, then what's the big deal? Okay? So now I can say, I can change this. In fact, I'm going to change it to one of the kind I like. All right? Put the scissors away. I'm leaving these out because I may be doing another plant in a second. Where's my pencil? Okay, this is a Simpsons stopper, I think. Pruned, wired, 9, 7, 23. Okay, and that goes right there where we can see it. And I'll put it there. All right, these are great. 100 for very little. All right, so I don't really care for the videos where at some point they just show the tree over and over and over from every angle and with music. That's not going to happen. I just don't have the tech for that. I could turn the tree around, but I never did care for that. I want to see how it looks at the beginning, at the front. Okay, enough ranting for one day. I will be back soon. This is Bonsai Anonymous.